Would you like to build core strength and stability? Well, if you do you know what a power stance is or a ready position is? In this tutorial, we're going to look at building core strength and stability, but looking more in the direction of the stance or the posture that underlies these types of exercises. How we're going to do it is I'm going to take you through 5 different components using different exercises. So we're not going to be doing necessarily the whole thing all at once, but I'm going to build it in its sort of different parts, and then we'll be able to look at the whole thing at the end. Part number 1 is the brace, which is the bracing of the abdominals. Now you can do this in many exercises. You can do this just standing up in the position that I'm in. But a very easy way of doing it, because in some respects we do want a little bit of natural contraction to the torso. We're just going to go down into a plank. So all we're looking to do is brace the abdominals. So essentially we're just locking the abdominals, the rectus abdominis, the internal and external obliques, the ribs joining to the top of the pelvis. So it's just very simple. We come down into this position, and what you should find naturally is the abdominals brace. That's them holding tight. So the first thing that we're looking for from this ready position or the power stance is the abdominal brace. Part number 2 is engaging the lats. So we're going to be focusing on what the shoulders are doing. So we're just going to use a nice simple exercise, kneeling down, and we're going to do a Pall-Off Press. So it's just a case of coming out in this position. Now, what will happen naturally is the abdominals will brace. So we've looked at part 1, which is bracing the abdominals in the plank. So the abdominals will brace now. What will then happen as we push away, obviously it will get harder on the abdominal wall. So what we do in part 2 is we also engage the shoulders. So we engage the lats, which basically go from the shoulders all the way down into the lower back. So not only have we got the ribs now connected to the pelvis, we've now got, in some respects, the top of the back or the shoulders now sort of engaged and attached to the pelvis. So what we do is we come into this position, and then we're bringing the shoulders back and then down into the rib cage, and it's that downward movement which really engages the lats. The pulling back is the traps and the rhomboids, and then we go down into the rib cage. Obviously we've already got the brace that we've talked about, so we're now pushing away and coming back. So we've got 2 of the parts of the ready position, which is the abdominal brace and the shoulders back and down. Part 3, we're now going to start activating the glutes. We're going to use the same exercise. We're going to go down onto the knees, because that's a very easy way to get the glutes activated. If you wanted to isolate them off, what you could do is just go into a bridge and you can activate them and feel them there. But what we're going to do is, obviously we've talked about bracing the abdominals, shoulders back and down. Now we're talking about activating, and mainly we're talking at the moment about glute max. So what we do, again, we'll go through all 3 parts. So we come into this position. We're naturally bracing the abdominals, because that's going to happen, and again it's going to happen as we push away. We're going shoulders back and then down and holding, so the upper body now is all locked in place. What we're now doing is squeezing the glutes, so essentially we're moving the hips forward. When we move the hips forward, so as we go back, they will naturally disengage. As we come forward and you extend the torso, you should feel them naturally engage. So we come into this position, so we've got abdominals braced, we've got the shoulders then coming back and down, and then we're pushing away, but also we're keeping the torso nice and upright, the hips as extended as we can keep them, essentially upright, and then we're pushing back and forth. So that's the first 3 components of the ready position or the power stance, which is abdominals braced, shoulders back and down, glutes engaged. Part number 4, we're coming up onto our feet. So what's going to be happening now is we're going to start involving glute medius, glute maximus. Well, the final 2 parts are glute medius, glute maximus, but we're just going to do it in 2 slightly different ways. So we're still going to take into consideration all of the ones that we've talked about. So we've got bracing the abdominals, shoulders back and down, activating the glutes now we're stood up, and number 4 is pushing the feet apart. So as we go to push the feet apart, which is starting to, or the legs want to go into what's known as abduction, so moving away from the center line, that's going to engage glute medius, glute minimus. So we've got abdominals braced, traps, rhomboids, lats, glute max. So we're in this sort of full braced position. Now what we're going to be doing is passing a weight around our body. So again, these are just exercise examples because we would be doing most of these in all of these exercises. But essentially what we're looking for is all of this, so abdominals, shoulders back and down, glute max squeezed, feet spread apart. So there's a lot to think about throughout all of these exercises. So what we're not doing is just going in and thinking, right, I need to do some planks, I need to do some side planks, and we're not very conscious of it. What we're trying to do is get as many muscles engaged, get as many muscles working, build as much, let's just say, controlled fatigue into the system, so we're able to build the endurance, the strength, the stability into the system. So it not only builds the strength and stability, but that strength and stability becomes unconscious, and we just start doing it. So again, we're abdominals, shoulders back and down, glutes squeezed, and pushing the feet apart and just passing the weight around. Again, just holding all that tension throughout the body. And then we can go, obviously, back the other way as well. So that's 4 or 5, brace abdominals, shoulders back and down, engage the glutes by extending the hips, and then pushing the feet apart, getting glute medius, glute minimus involved as well. Part number 5, we're going to use the same exercise, so standing and passing the weight around. We're also going to be engaging the glute medius, glute medius, glute minimus, but we're going to do it in a different way. We're going to externally rotate at the knees. So we've got bracing of the abdominals, we've got shoulders back and down, we've got glute max engaged, we've got spreading the floor or pushing the feet apart, and this time we're now bringing the knees and turning them outward. So if I just internally rotate, what we're doing is that position. Now obviously the feet stay in the same position, that's what we're looking for. But with regards to what we're trying to do is get all of this engaged, which is going to hold us in position, and that's going to give us our ready position when we do possibly standing Pall-Off presses, standing kettlebell exercises, because it's going to root us to the floor, it's going to hold us in position. What it will also do, and I'll talk more about this, is how it is adapted into different styles of training, but we'll talk about that next. So with regards to the exercise, what we've got, so let's just go through all 5. So we've got abdominals braced, shoulders back and down, glutes squeezed, feet pushing apart, and then finally externally rotating. So I'm holding this position, passing round. So again, this whole time, not only am I performing the exercise and I'm getting the sort of the benefit from the exercise, but I'm also underlying that and creating the stance, the stability, and the ready position to be able to perform those exercises correctly and in a much more effective way. And finally, how does this sort of move out into other styles or different exercises? Well, what we're basically doing is we're bracing the whole body. Now, when it comes to bracing, it needs to be done appropriately for the task. So faster moving tasks, obviously, we're going to need some slack in the system because we need to move quickly. So we can't fully root ourselves. So if we were doing a heavy deadlift, we would literally brace everything and completely root ourselves to the floor. If we've got a slightly lighter weight and we're just going to move it quickly, so I'm just going to do like a reverse chop type movement where I still have the position. So I have feet spread, knees apart, braced, shoulders are back and down. Because I need to move quickly, that needs to slacken off because I need that elasticity. If I'm too stiff and I'm too braced, I can't move quickly. So we would go into this sort of position. Obviously this foot as well is going to move and this leg is going to move, and I'm going to go into this position. So you're going to lose some of that as we do it. But again, it's all about coming out and back and back. So I'm sort of taking that split second when I come back into position just to reset, just to get my feet, my knees and everything that I need into position, keeping my glutes squeezed, just quickly rehearsing that for that half a second, get everything tight again, and then off I go again. So it's very much, if it's a heavy lift and we're going down, lifting a heavy lift from heavy weight from the floor, everything's braced, and with regards to our body and our movement, it's very stiff and controlled. As the movement speeds up, we need to be more elastic, but we still need the tension there to create the speed. So it's getting that balance of that tension, but also trying to get that elasticity so we're able to move quickly. If you want to build core strength and stability, and if you want to start using this power stance within workouts, within exercises, then just click the link below. You can go through to my How to Build Core Strength and Stability online gym. If you're a beginner, you've got a 12-week program where you can work through building on top of these principles, using exercises, using workouts, building core strength and stability all along the way. That happens for 12 weeks. What then, when you get to that sort of intermediate advanced level after the 12 weeks, you're then open to the rest of the workout library, where we start exploring different types of core training and also different types of core exercises. So we're able to incorporate not only that slow, stiff movement, but also the faster, more elastic, much quicker movement. So if you want to build core strength and stability, just click the link below, fill out your details and get started today.